Sponsored by Surfshark. Summertime. It's supposed to be the season of unplugging, of outside. Getting hot. Getting wet. Getting off the productivity tools and onto a phone that maybe encourages you to use it a little bit less. I'm MrMobile, and I normally carry a Motorola Razr Ultra, but I've spent the past week living life on the flip side. I mention my default daily driver because in the world of flip foldables, every review necessarily becomes, at least partially, a comparison to the Razr Ultra. With Samsung bringing fairly few new features to the Galaxy Flip8 versus last year's model, that's true in 2026, too. But the Galaxy still has ample opportunity to excel. Take the fit and finish. Personally, I find Samsung's reliance on tried-and-true glass and aluminum quite dull compared to Motorola's bold embrace of alternative materials painted in Pantone colors. And not even the pink of my Samsung review sample can make it particularly engaging from an aesthetic standpoint. If you look past the folding screen, I think this is a pretty plain-looking phone. But my Razr Ultra's Alcantara backplate is already getting a little funky after just a few months. And the Razr is both heavier and thicker than the Galaxy. Samsung was justified in the praise it allowed itself for creating the world's thinnest and lightest flip phone. It really does matter in this category, and you really do feel the difference in a pocket. Samsung is also ahead in other meaningful ways. The Flip8 can already airdrop files to Apple devices using QuickShare, and it launches with Android 17 instead of the older 16. The Razr will of course catch up. The only question is when. Motorola is famously slow to release software updates, while Samsung is among the quickest. Now, things begin to slip for the Galaxy where they always have, on the cover screen. You've probably seen me and other commentators give Samsung credit for finally making it easy for an end user to add apps to the so-called Flex window, and indeed, it's a long overdue upgrade. But everyone forgets it's never really been about the apps. It's about how these companies want you to use these secondary displays. Motorola has always said, effectively, this is your whole phone out here, just running in a smaller window. Do whatever you want. While Samsung has always said, this is a bigger version of a smartwatch. The Flip8 is no different, really. While the interface has been made to behave more like the inner display, swipe down for notifications, swipe up for app launcher, side to side for different home screens, you still don't have much actual utility out here. For example, if you've chosen on the inside to replace the Samsung keyboard with Gboard, that won't translate to the cover screen, which means you also have to live with Samsung's inferior voice dictation. Two-factor authentication pop-ups force you to open the phone. Widgets are confined to a narrower selection than what's available inside, and the quick settings still aren't customizable, so I can't do something as simple as turn dark mode on or off without opening the phone. Mobile data, though? A setting I've never needed to change, ever? Front and center. About the only place the Flip wins on the cover screen is with animated wallpapers. Shout out to one of my favorite developers, NST Enterprises, for my customary Star Trek hat tip. We've litigated this for years, and at this point I don't expect Samsung to change, nor do I expect most people to care. I think it's true that only so-called power users will chafe at these limitations, and it is true that the Galaxy delivers the simpler, more consistent user experience on the cover screen. But I continue to find the limitations largely arbitrary, and I wish Samsung would at least give nerds the opportunity to unlock some of this stuff through good luck. More on that at the end. I do think the company has a good idea with its flex briefing thing. If you're going to push AI on me, then yes, use it to emulate a personal assistant that tells me something useful every time I unlock the phone. Great call. Unfortunately, it seems to rely on the same logic or foundation as the Samsung Now brief, which to me is one of the most underwhelming mass-market AI features out there, and has been since its launch. Seriously, I never, ever need my phone to tell me the day rolls on like a disaffected coworker just trying to fill the silence at a dead-end job again. Now, it does have flashes of utility, like when it tells me how many events I have left in a given day. I like that a lot. At one point, it reminded me a few days in advance that I had plans to bring my girlfriend to afternoon tea at the plaza. Great! But the birthday cake I was supposed to pick up a full day before then? Something I'd also pinned in my calendar? Not a peep. Not a mention. Why? Who knows? In times past, I may have used this as an opportunity to bash all of AI. But folks, the reality is we live in a world where some AI-based tools have become legitimately useful to businesses and consumers alike, myself included. And fumbles like this just shine a bright light on something I think is obvious. Mobile manufacturers, all of them, not just Samsung, but Motorola also, should not be focused on delivering their own AI solutions, because they usually just can't compete. And they're already partnering, or should be partnering, with companies like Google for the good stuff anyway. As you know, I spend over 100 days a year on the go, chasing gadgets around the globe. And alongside for every trip is one of my favorite travel companions, and my sponsor, Surfshark. That starts before I even take off. When I'm shopping travel options, Surfshark's tracker blocking makes it harder for some companies to inflate their pricing based on my past activity. And when I'm actually traveling, I make use of a lot of public Wi-Fi networks. True, they're not as shady as they used to be, thanks to technology like HTTPS, but I still get peace of mind from Surfshark because its VPN makes sure that the service provider can't monitor what I'm doing. And that makes it harder for them to follow me around the internet for the purposes of profiling or targeted advertising, or even sharing data with authorities. Not that I'm a crook, but you don't need to be one in order to value your privacy. So secure your privacy with Surfshark and get an extra 4 months at surfshark.com/MrMobile or use coupon code MrMobile at checkout. There's also a 30-day money-back guarantee, so the only risk is not trying it. Thanks to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. Things get a bit brighter for the Flip8 when we turn to its twin cameras. Shooting with this thing is so much fun. Whether you're flex-moding a stand-up selfie with the full 50-megapixel resolution, or camcordering with super stabilization on a sea-sprayed speedboat. I continue to be grateful that the 8 finally came to IP48 dust and water resistance in the foldable world. The camera is speedy, and it's reliable. And even though, shot after shot, when I put the Razr Ultra's results up against the Flip8, I strongly prefer the Motorola for its contrast and its respect for shadows. It doesn't matter. Because if you shoot any video at all, Samsung wins this one by a landslide. Zoom in more than the smallest amount, and Motorola's footage just falls apart, while Samsung just gets the job done. I'm not trying to paint red into green here. It's still a flip phone. It's still heavily compromised. I'm just saying the only relevant competition is so inferior that the Flip8 just runs away with it here. Call it winning on errors, but it's winning, nevertheless. Go ahead and take in a few more samples from the Flip8 without my commentary, before we bring it home with battery and performance. The Galaxy Flip8 starts just shy of $1,200. As I said in the Fold 8 video, a big part of the reason Samsung has to charge this much for its phones is because it loves to pack them with expensive but powerful silicon. And here in the States, that holds true for the Flip8. Qualcomm's Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 keeps things humming along very nicely, from Messenger to MetalStorm. Voice calling on Verizon has been top-notch on my review sample, and what's more, because every member of the Galaxy Foldable family preserves the SIM tray in all markets, I've been able to swap over to T-Mobile easily and quickly to verify coverage and compatibility there too. Some things don't need to be abstracted, and I continue to believe that physical SIMs are among them. While we have other phones in mind, it bears mentioning that the Flip8 didn't get the hardware enhancements enjoyed by its larger siblings. No titanium, nor new anti-reflective coating for the display, and no brightness boost either. Now, none of that's been a problem for me, but after being spoiled by the Fold 8's charging speed, I do find the Flip8 to be rather torpid. 15 minutes takes you from 0 to 28%, and it takes a full hour and 15 minutes to get to full. Capacity, too, is unchanged from last year, which makes endurance acceptable, but only with moderate use. Test that with heavier workloads like the shutterbug I was up to, or gaming, or messing with fun accessories. Yeah, you're going to be charging before bedtime. The Flip8 took a lot of hits in this review, but I want to remind you to consider it in context. While I personally get more joy from the Razr Ultra, that phone is akin to a finicky hot rod. Powerful, but temperamental. The Galaxy Flip8 is less potent, but also less likely to annoy with odd behaviors like those I covered in my Razr review. And there are more delights to be had from the Galaxy if you open yourself to the dark arts of good luck. Customize icon packs, theme your phone like a fever dream, make your notifications truly unhinged. And you can mirror that chaos on the hardware side, with accessories that Samsung really should advertise more aggressively. Slap a flip suit case on there, and the Flip8 will unlock cover screen secrets, like this little Arkanoid clone, automatically. What a delight! So while the Fold 8 might have stolen headlines this year, its flippy little sibling still very much has a place. For all its compromises, it's still the best blend of portability, power, and consistency in the clamshell foldable world. I don't believe the rumors that this will be the last Galaxy Flip, but I do think that next year's model will have to bring a much longer list of improvements to justify its existence. Now for your customary peek behind the curtain. This review was produced following 8 days with a Galaxy Flip8 review sample tested on Verizon and T-Mobile and provided by Samsung, which also provided travel and accommodation so I could attend its launch event in London. But I never give manufacturers any editorial control over, or even an early preview of, any of my review material. Samsung is seeing this for the first time right alongside you. Check out my Galaxy Fold 8 review and stay tuned for my Fold 8 Ultra review coming soon. Until next time, from Michael Fisher, Captain Two Phones on the socials, thanks for watching. And stay mobile, my friends.